line. Check the radio, big crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Makoni Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairground Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Makoni Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Makoni Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MakoniSetupShop.com and learn why Makoni Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Looking for a new PC or an upgrade to your current one? Look no further than Ford Entertainment Group, your home for the best quality and value in new, pre-built, and custom PCs at the lowest price guaranteed. We have affordable PC solutions for any budget, with custom builds starting at $595. Even the pros turn to Ford Entertainment Group to get them up and running. With valued customers from all over the world, it's easy to see why Ford Entertainment Group is the most trusted brand in custom PCs.
I wanted to save my awesome subscribers the most money when they started their sim racing journey. I started trying to look for the best deals. And I'm so proud that Jeffrey and I have partnered up so I can spread the good news about where to get the lowest price on a high quality computer.
Feel confident when buying from us with the FEG Satisfaction Guarantee. Get yourself on track today by visiting us online at fegpc.net.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to the show right now, live from Pedal to the Metal from Pedal to the Metal Racing League's SLM series as we are down at Texas Motor Speedway with the qualifying session coming to a clear and finishing out. What will be in store for here tonight? You're going to find out right here, live here on the show. Hi, everyone. I am Christian the Crusader Shriver, and this is my good friend Dustin Sparkalicious here joining me in the booth. Sparky, what on earth are we doing here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway for these super late models of all things?
Well, I'm thinking there's some type of racing that we're kind of doing tonight. This is going to be kind of unique since these cars are going to be on this big 1.5-mile speedway. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how these cars react on here. We've been on the short tracks for a little while, so it's going to be quite interesting coming back here and getting to a big speedway here tonight.
It will indeed. Right now we're about to find out what was in store for us here as drivers do final maintenance and preparations. This track is not a track you can mess around on. As you see the gridding order right now on the screen, Matthew Hopper in the 84 will lead it off from the Carolina. Is outside. It's going to be the closer, Cindy Taylor, and the number 7. Rival number 2, it's Bob Hutchings out of Canada, and the 77 is outside Jason Wright from the United States in the 54. Row number 3, it's Key Checkmate Taylor in the 8th out of Florida, and then Chantel the Throttle Bottle in the 5 out of the Rock in Canada. Row number 4, it's Jeffrey Oakes in the 20 is outside, the number 1 of Carolina's own Warren Young. Row number 5, Joe Nuttleman in the number 4 is outside, the 22, Chad Lancaster. And final starter, Jeffrey Todd Tufts out of Canada in the 72 to round out the field as we are about ready to go green flag racing here on the show here, Sparky.
Yes, we are. We are getting ready to rumble here. Wait, haven't got quite the engine started yet, it looks like, just yet. We're just sitting on pit road getting ready to get them going here. But
what's this nonsense about the pit road not getting the engine started? I can hear these things just fine on my end. You must be deaf over there, my friend.
It might be these, they gave me these nice little ear muffs here on my ear because I got a little bit of an earache going on here tonight, so they got a little sound buff on, so that might be what it is, but we will see here as now it looks like we are getting rolled off of pit road now.
Yes, we are indeed, and we're getting set up and ready to go for the action here. 80 laps to the distance here tonight for these drivers as they're going to try and take down the challenge that is this Texas Motor Speedway. This track, obviously, by many means, a track that a lot of folks was not expecting to see on the Super Late Models division. But, of course, the Pedal to the Metal, they don't seem to give two ands, ifs, or buts, or dams about it. They will throw wherever they like and drive where they wish. And tonight, obviously, being absolutely no different in this case. And for the show these guys are about to put on, I feel like this could be a track that makes for some interesting races, but can be also for some interesting issues here. Because, again, this is a 1.5 mile long track, but the turns here, not as smooth and not as rich as other tracks you would see for the Super Late Models usually to run on. So I think that's going to really play a factor into this here. Sparky, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm interested to see how these cars run on here. Like I said earlier, we've been running, mainly the short tracks here the last couple of weeks, and now to be on a big track like this, it's going to be interesting to see how much you can put the throttle down here, how much you can get through the corners. These cars are definitely different to handle here, so we're going to see how these guys are going to handle it here.
We are definitely going to see it right here and now live on the show. You're with us here on PTM Racing TV. First off, thank you so much. And to the folks over on YouTube, when you catch this, guess what? This is our 200th episode ever on our YouTube channel. We sure hope they put on our show and you enjoy it. The green flag flies. We're underway.
All right, 200th episode. That is amazing as we get started here into turn 1, and Matthew Hoffer's going to take the early lead going down into turn 1 and coming off of turn number 2.
Out of the HUD there, Bob Hutchins, though, off his line through the chicane, coming down with a solid run there. Hoffer, one of the favorites to win here tonight, but Bob Hutchins, always a bad man out on the track when it comes to it. Got a battle in the back right now for the top 5 here as Jeffrey Oakes goes to war with the number 20 and the 5 of Chantel Throttle Bottle with Jason Wright from the 54 and the Fury Machine on the outside line. Both drivers in a nice steady 80 pace, kind of staying with it and getting themselves a run and a half or two.
Absolutely. Looks like Wright's going to drop back in line there. Not really, mainly on this track, you mainly want to try to stay on the bottom or kind of maybe off the middle a little bit here. So not sure if that high line will work here, but for right now, looks like everybody is kind of hunkered down on the inside there or toward the middle here as we get going here.
One thing we're going to know really here tonight as well is that you've got to be very careful about is how deep these turns can get and how hard they can be to handle at times. One thing you notice in the Cup cars and all the trucks in Xfinity is that they have a trouble sometimes and a tendency to overdrive the corner a slight bit. It just trips them up so much. Here, it is absolutely no different those super late model divisions. They have a lot of problems down there, and they are a crazy situation there. You've got to be careful about as time goes on. And right now, the drivers, in my opinion, are doing a pretty good job staying close together and staying in their positions, considering that this was a track I was actually practicing on with these guys a little while ago. And my first thought was, why in the hell are we running this track?
And to that point that you're saying is, like, I was watching the practice here right before we got on air here, and it looked like these guys were, having troubles with these cars here at this track big time. There was a lot of cars getting loose, getting spun out here. And so far in the race so far, everybody's kind of taking their time, pacing themselves. Pretty good pace so far.
They are indeed right now. The lap's starting to just kind of tick away a little bit. Already at lap 4 of 80 here as they are currently on their nose, on their tails. The 8 of Keith Checkmate Taylor still doing a pretty good job here staying with the drivers here. A little bit of problems though for Jason Rife as he goes out of the grassy plains, opened up his own lawn care service and literally gets back on the track nice and clean there. But I don't know what the heck happened to him right here. We're going to go back to the PTM Mr. Speedway and take a look at this here. But Sparky, it looked like he might have just got a little too aggressive on that corner turn 4 and it sent him straight into the off the track and off zone. We're going to see right here, though, as he comes out. Oh, no, actually, he gets a little tag there on the front part past the finish line from Jeffrey Oaks. So a great save there by Rife to manage to keep that thing at bay and not spin it out. But I almost guarantee right now he's probably not too happy about that.
Probably not, but, that was a heck of a job. These cars seem like they are kind of a handful to even try to save. So that was a heck of a job by him to keep his car together there. After the little bit of, it looked like just a little smudge of a tap there, just to get him off the corner there a little bit, but he was able to save it and keep on rolling on.
You got to be very careful about how or where you race around here, especially when it comes to the later half. These tires burn up quick and the fuel just as bad. They will have to definitely have, I had to estimate tonight, they're going to have to go into pit road at least more than probably about 2.5, 3 times. This track burns in quick and it's hard to stay really relevant, stay consistent with how they burn in, because once they burn up, man, they burn up and it gets a little bit crazy out there.
And I definitely have to wait and see what happens later in the run, see if these guys can still keep this pace and able to keep the cars under him here at this point.
For sure there, as we go to the onboard camera right now, Jeffrey Oaks here with the 20 getting a little bit of a run there past Chad Lancaster. Lancaster right now trying to eye a position or two and take away that spot up. Hasn't quite got it done just yet, but Lancaster is on the hunt and on the prowl to get up there as the race for the battle for the race lead still catches on. Matthew Hofford, I raced with him last night, Sparky, and the one thing I noticed was just he is bad fast on a short and a long-term run. But Bob Hutchings, I did not get to see anything off of, and it seems like he's really dialing it back a little bit and starting to get a feel for this. He's done good in the Truck Series, but now it looks like the Cup Series, for the SLM Series, I should say. I want to say the Cup Series because you would think that's where most of these guys come from, is those super late models that go to the Cup cars. But now, man, most of these guys usually they work their way up to the field and they do other things. But so far, everyone doing a pretty good job staying with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just watching this, it looks like Bob Hutchins there in that 77. It seems like he's pretty content to kind of just sit there and ride around behind Halford there. He looks like he may be a little bit quicker than him right now, but he's just content to just sit back there and just ride around with him right now and not force the issue this early in the race.
Looking at our lap times right now, Hutchings has been catching them every single lap up from pretty much the first lap onward. But lap 9 was a little bit different here because now that he's caught up so quickly, he's actually backed off about a 500th of a second here, which is not helping him out in his case to try to make the pass around Hoffer. There's not a lot of places to pass. But again, if you're going to make a pass, you really have two areas, that front stretch or that back stretch. And I'd take my chances more on that back stretch, to be honest with you there.
Yeah, you got a little bit more with the back stretch there. You don't have like the little dog leg that you do on the front straightaway here. That dog leg can be a little bit tricky to try to get underneath somebody there. Back stretch, probably the more preferable method because it's just straight and you can get right beside somebody and then get inside of them into turn 3.
Jason Rife right now into pit road. Warren Young as well sets himself in there. Meanwhile, right behind all of them, Jeffrey Oaks and Chad Lancaster going at a little bit of a measly fight here. Those two seem to be the real ones putting on the fights, putting on the race here. That's Hopper, Hutchings, and these two back here, Oaksy and Chad Lancaster. give credit's due to Lancaster. Put a good fight on there to Oaksey, but old Oaksey, I think, is just using the experience around to him.
Absolutely. And looking back up front here, there's starting to be a third player up here for this lead. We got Halford leading, we got Hutchins in second, but Keith Checkmate Taylor in the A car. Looks like he is slowly pulling them in little by little.
Judging by the lap times right now, consistently on our show here right now, lap 9 and 10, he did get a bit of a boost on him to catch up, but unfortunately, laps 11 and 12, well, actually, I wouldn't say unfortunately, he actually kind of kept it pretty much the same, only by a thousandth to literally no time gained or lost on Hutchings, which you don't see that too often around here. That is pretty impressive that Keith is being able to manage and match his way through so far as we go back to the onboard with him. Now, one thing I would definitely want to note around here, Sparky, is just one thing, like I said before, this turns here are very tight, very tricky. But I would say turn 2 is probably the worst of the bunch when it comes to trying to make sure you are perfect on that end.
Yeah, definitely, especially coming off, because it's kind of tricky coming off there, because either one of two things could very well happen. You could either come off and that rear end tries to snap around on you, or you run out of racetrack eventually and you go up there and smack that wall. I know with now I know comparing from iRacing to the Heat Series you used to come off there and sometimes you would smack that wall hard. I still think you could still do that with these cars, but more or less I think it's more or less the looseness part, just judging by the way these cars are looking.
I know right about now, the only thing I don't miss from NASCAR Heat was having to deal with other leagues around here, especially one we're still competing with on YouTube. But then again, that apparently that old league is gone and be had. Now they actually changed their name up, so what do I know?
That's all right. We're more focused on this league right here tonight than anything else.
That's the reason, baby. These guys and gals, man, they've been around from the Heat days and way back when, and they know what to do. They know how to do it. Again, for those at home that don't know, yeah, PTN Race TV does stand for Pedal to the Metal, but I will say this right now, it is not the same as Pedal to the Metal Racing League. It is its own entity, its own brand. It was just formed thanks to what Pedal to the Metal was able to give to us and be able to teach us from the Heat Series. That's why we never changed the name around. So for those at home that are wondering, that is why it is pretty much a subsidiary, but now it's kind of become its own major brand, if you will.
Absolutely, and we're proud to be part of that brand here tonight and able to display this lovely racing that we're having here tonight. And I'm telling you something about this racing. This is so strange. I know last time we were on here, we were on here, and we had a track that we were at, and the race went completely almost green flag, other than a competition caution midway through. And this is almost like deja vu all over again. I don't want to jinx anything, but this is amazing. These guys are running, and we still haven't had a caution yet.
You jinxing things around here, but at the same time, you have to keep bringing up offensive stuff like Dr. Seuss books and characters around here, for crying out loud.
I still got my green eggs and ham, so we'll be all right.
Oh my God! I swear I told you not to get the green eggs and ham out. I told you that was literally for St. Patty's Day, maybe a little bit leading into Easter, but Easter's already over with, man. The Lord of Speed has already risen, and so has our great Lord and Savior. And now you keep having to bring this stuff in, for crying out loud.
Well, I had to make up for Easter because we weren't racing on Easter, so I had to make up for that at least.
That was probably for a reason, but then again, you know what I mean around here. Anyway, lap 20 right now, about to hit, so we're 1/4 the way so far through this one here, folks. And currently right now, Matthew Hopper has not been challenged whatsoever, other than Bob Hutchins coming up to him a little bit closer earlier on.
Yeah, it looks like he's starting to gap Hutchins now a little bit. Now it's pretty much about almost a half a second lead now, so he is starting to put some distance on him and Keith Checkmate Taylor at this point in the race.
He's racing as far away as he can, trying to social distance himself from everybody the same way that most people in the States and outside of the Canada region decide to social distance as well, unless apparently you're in some third world country that's now having all their masks off and just partying like there's no tomorrow. I don't know what the hell that country is, but yeah, whatever. We're on board with Matthew Hofford.
On board with Matthew Hopper here as he continues to lead the way. Like it looks like he's in the Haviland machine here tonight. And good to see that scheme back out here running again as he continues to lead here for us.
A lot of history represented from that Halloween scheme, very retro themed, if you will, kind of a throwback entirely. And in all honesty, I feel like it kind of has a little more character to it than I think some of the drivers actually have in their personality and driving style. Though now that I say that, they're probably going to kill me for saying that.
They probably will.
Hey, I'm not saying I'm any better, man. I'm pretty lame and pretty boring when it comes to getting on the track and racing, unless somehow, some way I can have you know what around here. But I've been told I fertilize my track too much, so that's why I'm so fast on it. To that I say, well, if that was the case, and yeah, my apologies, but I really don't care. So.
Well, looks like we have some activity on pit road as our second place man, Bob Hutchins, is taking the number 77 automobile down for, looks like, some tires and some fuel. Also looks like Chad Lancaster has also brought his 22 machine down pit road as well.
He has indeed right now. They're down in pit road at the moment, trying to get settled up a little bit for a longer run. You can see, though, the back of the pack right now, Matthew Aubrey and Keith Checkmate Taylor actually going into pit road as Jeffrey Oaks and Chantel the Throttle Bottle staying out. I actually talked to both drivers earlier today, and I asked them what was their strategy. They said, well, we can't outdo and outrace Hofford, so what we're going to try to do is outrun him and just run a marathon rather than sprint. And now for those at home that don't understand that kind of logic, as you see Oaks, whoa. Remember what I said about turn 2 earlier, folks? Yeah. That's what we meant. He got really loose off that corner, about lost it completely. And it looks like Chantel is going to go into pit road here, as well as Jeffrey Oaks. They are indeed. They're going both into pit road, so that means.
Yeah, that was that was interesting. Yeah, I was watching Oaksy there just as you were saying that, and I saw that car almost get completely sideways, and I was like, whoa, that was almost a moment there.
Remember what we said about that, Red? Then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now in the chat, Austin Householder saying that country with no mask would be Texas. No, it's another. I'm not talking about our states in general, man. I'm talking about something else. But thanks for tuning on in, brother. But I mean, we are in Texas right now. Wait a minute. Someone give me an aerial view of those folks in the crowd. Someone give me a view of them. I want to see the crowd right now. Okay, not that crowd, you darn producers. Give me a picture of like their faces. Are they even wearing masks? They're packed this damn place, man. Look at this.
Yeah, they don't have no mask on here, it looks like to me.
What is that, 150,000 in the crowd right now? They're barely wearing no mask? Oh, God.
It is a beautiful sight. It is a beautiful sight.
Yeah, it'd be a beautiful sight if I wish it was a legit instead of just virtual. But, I mean, at the end of the day, what am I going to do? So, but nevertheless, so it is great to have all the folks on hand right now. We got a good crowd on the show. As currently Matthew Hubbard takes back the race lead. Cindy the Closer Taylor pretty much kind of getting back up there with them and making a little bit of a move. There was one other driver I noticed that, well, kind of obviously, they were definitely in it to win it, and they had something going down. It was definitely Cindy the Closer Taylor, man. She just seemed like she was starting to dial in more, kind of kick back, lay in a little more and a little less. And it just seemed like, to me, she was going to be a favorite from the start. But, again, like I hate saying anything bad, but Matthew Hopper to me tonight is just almost untouchable. He's got that car somehow, some way, like put together like it's literally been his life mission to have that car into victory lane here on Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I mean, just sitting here watching him, it looks like that car just does have no bobble, no nothing to it. It's just really solid. And he's driving pretty much right near the white line in the corners, and that car, even coming off the corners, it's just like it's glued to the racetrack. There's no bobble, no nothing off of that car.
Really looks about the time we had all the old road courses out there, and we used to have a few drivers out there that knew how to absolutely tear the part up and tear it in. And even myself included, I actually, with those truck series, the Road America, I actually put up quite a fight and actually made it a bit of a challenge for others to catch on that track, as long as you just didn't make any mistakes. But that was back in the NASCAR Heat days. Sparky, I haven't tried Road America here on this iRacing circuit. I gotta believe it's probably 10 times harder and a lot more fun, though.
Probably is. I haven't tried it either. I'm willing to try it. I've tried a couple of the road courses on here. That's one I haven't yet. maybe that might be one I might have to take a run at this week. But definitely would say it probably definitely is.
I would definitely say, though, if you guys are wanting another road course on this track, on the show here, don't worry, we got you covered Monday night. Literally, the Pushing Limits Racing League. We haven't talked too much about them, but, or, well, if you guys have been listening, we have talked a little bit about them, but they are literally bringing out the Legend Series of all things on Canadian Tire. How in the world they're going to make that work, I have not the foggiest idea. Please don't ask, but, you know, I did practice a little bit. I actually got to run with one of the drivers out on the track here just to see what it was like, and I got to be honest with you, Sparky, it's interesting, but I don't know how they'll handle with like 2 or 3 cars at the same time trying to fight for a position or the turns. Those things are not easy to handle when it comes to getting those turns in just right.
Yeah, I have yet to. I'm running that league. You'll see me there Monday night behind the wheel. I'm very intrigued about this with the Legend cars. I'm going to get out there later this weekend here and get some practice laps in and see how that's going to feel with the Legend cars on a road course. I never thought we would ever do that, but that's how unique that league is with running every different series and different tracks every week.
And speaking of getting a little bit of practice in between, I thought he might have been able to save it. He's not going to save it on turn 4. Jeffrey Oaks gets tagged into Bob Hutchins there, and Hutchins and him, well, they did somehow manage to save it, but Oaksy kind of tagged Hutchins and completely derailed his momentum to get back up to the front. No caution call. Great save on Hutchins, though, and Oaksy, but, man, what a tap and a half there, Sparky.
Yeah, and that's where that thing we were talking about earlier about passing, whether it's better on the back stretch or the front stretch. That there kind of proves that point a little bit because that was right in that dog leg area right there and didn't take much, but good job by both of them fellas to hold on to their cars and to keep on trucking here.
Just goes to show you the experience these drivers have on the track and what they're capable of here as we move through right now. Currently, if you're going to go off I ratings right now compared to the safety ratings right at the moment, Cindy the Closer Taylor, there's a reason why she's got an 1834 I rating on her end, but Matthew Hoffer with a 1589 currently still dominating, completely tearing this one up. So it just goes to show you that the license class actually is not really the thing you got to worry about. What you got to worry about is that high rating getting the better of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And those come from the official races that people run every week to try to better themselves, get their I ratings up, get their safety ratings up, look nice, try to get those licenses so you can run the cup cars or run the higher series tracks and things like that. So yeah, you could tell, how people put in the effort to, get those safety ratings and I ratings looking pretty nice.
Brother Keith right now in the number 8, Lightning McQueen. I wanted to say Cam McQueen. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking, but that Lightning McQueen, Rusty's Medicaid bumper, rear end formula, whatever the hell kind of car, is going right in out of turn 2 and with a side-by-side battle here with Cindy the Closer Taylor's Ford Mustang Motorsports machine. Charging down the back straightaway they go, and remember what I said earlier about that pass maneuver? There it is right there. Cindy opens the door up for her brother, and the Ford Performance is going to fall back just a slight bit here to the old Lightning McQueen machine.
Indeed, that is very true. So put Mr. Keith up into second, put Cindy back into third. They're going to have some work to do, though. They are at least 3.5 seconds off from right now, which looks like the dominant car right now in Matthew Hofford.
We'll see if they're able to get to it here as the time goes on. Before we hit the halfway point, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, but folks, don't go anywhere. When we return, who will be able to survive and check out on this one and get this win? We'll find out when we return. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's race is presented and sponsored by our good friends over at McConey Setup Shop. Only the best and fastest setup shop come from the McConey Setup Shop. Visit up their website at McConeySetupShop.com to find the right setup for your next race. By Matt Mills Racing Team, the best Xfinity team out there, sponsoring and supporting Pedal the Metal Racing League this season. And if you want to support Matt Mills Racing Team, well, visit them up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check out their merchandise and shirt line on Facebook. And good luck at Martinsville there, buddy. Hi, Bob's Custom Trophies and Gifts. They are supplying up the trophies for the season champs this season. And if you're looking to get the best hardware gift for your next event, well, visit up www.bobscustomtrophies.com today to get your next piece of mantle or gift set up. Trust me, these pieces of artwork, everybody wants one, and they're racing for it here. Buy SimRacingMerch.com, the perfect way to show your passion for sim racing. Buy GridFinder.com, the best way to find a new league. Filter your search by race day, your geographical region, gaming platform, and racing sim and car class. While you need a broadcaster or library designer, you could just hit us up. But then again, if you need them right away, you search GridFinder, the home of online racing. Buy the Butt Kicker, best in performance and feeling on real tracks of the virtual world. The Butt Kicker, feel what you've been missing. Buy FEGPC.net, matching your want with your wallet. FEGPC.net will always work with your needs to build the best PC at the right price. Buy Brandon Minnick Sim Racing. Brandon Minnick Sim Racing is proud to support and sponsor up our show, so we're going to ask you to go and support his merchandise line and iRacing journey. Thank you again to Brandon Minnick for supporting the show. Buy Paul's Wraps. If you want your vehicle to match your style on the track, visit up Paul's Wraps for just that, the most affordable designs made at your leisure. And by Green Tech Energy, leading the way in solar company and flare. Green Tech Energy, the natural choice. And I guess maybe I should have waited a little bit longer because the caution has come out. Sparky, what did I miss down there? Because apparently the producers said we weren't going to have a halfway caution, but apparently they don't know jack anything around here.
I'm wondering if we are, because there's, as far as I know, I did not see any incident, no car hit the wall or spun out or anything. So this is just like maybe a competition caution at this point.
Yeah, that looks like it is the halfway caution here. So clean racing so far, and you can see that. Look, I'm not a huge fan of Texas Motor Speedway. I'm sorry, I'm not. But to be honest, there is one thing I will give them credit for, is that the lights on the front stretch with them flashing yellow like that is actually kind of cool. I will give them that. And the facility is nice and all, but it's just the track. I'm sorry, but the track itself, I just can't get into it. And even the races themselves have just been lackluster. I'm sorry.
And by the way, I do remember what the last race we were at was Iowa. One that our own Chantel the Throttle Poddle pretty much dominated that entire race, even with a halfway caution here. And again, it looks like it's deja vu here in Texas with Matthew Halford leading all the way so far here, and now we have to have a competition caution to get everybody all racked back up again.
Sparky, I think you're meaning Oxford. You're talking about the last race we were at. At least I believe that was the last one we were at. Let me go back and look at the schedule here. We do have the schedules lined up in position, so what do I know anyway? Yeah, we were at Oxford last week. I thought so, because Iowa was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that was literally the last. Iowa was the last one of the original season. And that actually ended up having to be cut out, and unfortunately, for the reason being, for those at home that don't know or haven't been, following us, the reason why it says Revamped in the title here for the SLM series is because when we came out with the SLM series, they originally were running a much different model than what these Super Late models are now. You can go back and take a look at those and what they looked like originally, but when they came out with this one, there was one thing the driver said immediately out of the gate. What on earth is this? This is literally changed up completely. It's much more difficult to control, and they're much more, loose in the corners and the turns. You have to be very cautious about them. So a lot of folks that, we kind of agreed and kind of came through on, and they said, let's just do the top 5 payout if they want, do the prizes and all that, and then we'll get back in touch with everybody. And they did that, and the sponsors, again, God bless them for what they did. They were able to work with these guys and gals and give them a fair shake, because in all honesty, this was not meant to happen like that. This was not something anybody wanted to see happen. But thankfully, everyone was very cool about it and very good, and they were able to get this back up and running and get things settled back down. And, I think for the most part, it works out quite well, because this is looking to be a bit of a strong horse here for a lot of drivers, and I think they've been enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I think they just had to, you had to take the time to get used to them. It's almost kind of like back when the NASCAR Cup Series, when they went from the old generation cars to this car tomorrow, how much of an adjustment that was. And that's kind of like how these guys had to go through it. They went with an older car, that they were comfortable with, and then you had to change to these, and these are quite a different feel and a different handful with these. And I think these guys are really starting to adapt well to these newer cars, and the more they've run them and the more they get used to them, I think the more they really are going to like them.
For sure there, and I mean, there was one thing I will say, that if you can get these things dialed in a little bit better, they are a little bit more. They are a little bit of a handful at first, but if you do practice with them, they are in ways better than the originals. But honestly, to me, I tried the actual late models out, and I just thought immediately, like, I know those things are slower, but they just have a little more grip and they're a lot more fun, in my opinion. But the problem is the braking on them are god awful. So, but I am interested to see what will happen when we go to our next track, which will actually be Thompson Speedway, and what these drivers are gonna have to deal with there. You remember those original late models there when they battled there? That was something, my friend.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was indeed. And I'm looking forward to see what these guys can do there at that track, because that is definitely a good racetrack.
For those at home that don't know what Thompson Speedway is, well, first off, go look it up. It is a much tighter and much shorter track than the Texas Motor Speedway, obviously, but that's kind of the beauty that runs with it, is that these super late models are built for those smaller tracks in those areas. Thompson, with a well-grounded history and a lot of hard racing that has come from that track, I gotta believe we are in for a store there that night. But right now, we're about ready to get back to green flag racing here off the caution. Competition caution, our only one of the night so far. Had a few close encounters and a few that got in a little bit over their head and smacked around a little bit, but they managed to keep everything nice and stable and under pressure, and it seems like now, hopefully they have made their final adjustments and final tweaks to either the braking system or their offs or their tires to make sure they can get a good run off these next runs.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting stacked up again here. We got Halford in the lead. We got Bob Hutchins in second. Cindy DeCloser Taylor's going to start in third. Chad Lancaster, good pit stop for that team as he comes up into the fourth spot. Got Keith Checkmate Taylor in the fifth spot. In the sixth spot, there's that Chantel the Throttle Pottle right back up in there as well. Jeffrey Todd Tufts there in the 72 is going to be the last car on the lead lap here in the seventh spot.
They are indeed, and this will set the pace and the advantage, I believe, to give Matthew Halford a chance. They will go on green, so watch for that green flag to fly here in just a minute. As they pace it down around here, you can see the lights are going to come on back around. The green flag's back out. We are underway once more as they charge down the front straightaway, initiate down to our static cam here.
We're going through turn one, coming off turn two. Alford with the lead. Hutchins right there in second. Cindy DeCloser Taylor in third. Keith Taylor now makes the move around Lancaster for fourth.
Keith Checkmate Taylor right now trying to make a little bit of a push, a little bit more of a run off those ends and those exits of the position he goes through. 11 drivers were with us here tonight. Unfortunately, Joe Nuttleman was not able to get started or really finish. A family emergency is what we were told from his end. Had to cost him a little bit of a chance, and so our deep hopes and prayers there to Nuttleman, and hopefully everything is okay there, my friend. As they work their way around down out of turn two, once more here, Bob Hutchings still trying desperately to make a move around Hoffer. Hoffer doing everything he can to make Bob burn his tires up quicker so he doesn't have to worry about it later on.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going back up there where Bob Hutchins is, and yeah, you're right. He's right up on the rear end of the 84 car. Now he's going to try to make a pass on the outside. Is he going to try to stick it up there? We'll see.
You gotta be careful about
back in line.
You gotta be careful about how far you fall down there on that outside line, because if you go too far in, you can overdrive it. Next thing you know, you're pushing to the right, and once you're up on those high banks of Texas, you lost all your momentum and all your ground, and it's just a nightmare to try to get it back.
Yeah, it looks like with these cars, it looks like there is really no high line up there, so going up on the outside is probably not going to be the key thing here unless you can figure out a way to get it to work up there, but so far it looks like bottom is the place to go.
I mean, to be honest with you folks, if they somehow found a way to actually put more cars out on that track and all that, I think it would make for a lot more of an interesting challenge for the drivers to really have to work around, because obviously we see with the Cup Series where they're having to work around lap traffic and all that here, that it would be a lot more difficult to try to get things figured in. But again, like, this is not a track you can just pass on that easily, so even with lap traffic, it's hard to really just make moves and try to make any positions around, as there are major troubles there on the front straightaway. We have a caution come out, second of the night. Jeffrey Todd Tufts spinning right into pit road. Chantel the Throttle Pottle crashed in, and it looks like Chad Lancaster and Jason Reif all involved in this one here. Sparky, I didn't even catch what the heck happened there. We got to go to the PTM Instant Replay, dude.
Yeah, we've got to go to that replay, see what happened there.
See if we can get a good look at this one here and see what happened as they're coming around. For those at home that are wondering, do not ask what Sonicker made that noise for. Looks like Chantel came out of turn 4 there, and I know I've been in those shoes before where you get a little too inconsiderate about how far it was going, and then the next thing you know, you're literally spinning around. And it's not a lack of trying by any means, folks. That spot, when you're getting around to that apron, one thing that is extremely dangerous about Texas Motor Speedway is that apron is literally just kind of got a flat banked area. So once those left front tires, any of those left tires there go over that little banking and that little ridge, those right sides are almost literally lifted off the ground like a drag race car. So it pretty much just completely spins you around and gives you no time or chance to react. And it's a nightmare to get that figured in.
Yeah, exactly right, and that definitely looks like that's what happened there. It looks like she just got a little bit ticked below that white line, and that white, sometimes getting below that white line is just like flirting with disaster, and it looks like that's what happened there. And then she tried her best, tried to save that thing as much as she could, but it just finally did go around on her, and unfortunately, it collected a couple other folks in that as well.
Well, while Jeffrey Oaks currently tries to look up some Molly Hatchet's music videos and play his Flirting with Disaster, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break and have a word from our sponsors, but do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Makoni Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in Irish. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Makoni Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Makoni Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MakoniSetupShop.com and learn why Makoni Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here right now as we're currently getting settled back up around here on the track. About 52 laps have been completed here. We need to get to 80 though. Second caution, this one not the stage caution or mandatory caution, if you will. This was because of a wreck between Chantel Throttle Bottle, Jason Reif, Todd Tufts as well, ball involved in that one. Even Jeffrey Oaks getting a little bit of a love tap out of it. So right now the field going to try to hammer back down, get things taken care of, and apparently Todd Tufts has been hanging around too much of those Fast and Fun boys because he just added himself to the list of names I have to take down when it comes to Cone Lives Matter movement.
I guess he just didn't like that cone, just wanted to move it over somewhere.
Nobody likes the cone around here. That's why I have to keep putting him in the list, okay? It's not the list of Jericho. It's not the Dead Man's list. It's just my list. It's the list of Crusades.
List of Crusades. Okay, we can roll with that.
By the way, we've got a little friend here in the chat right now. Isaac Linkus has joined us in saying hi on the show. Isaac, how you doing, bud? No, I know you kind of texted out a while back. I'm sorry we couldn't get to you, but hope you're doing all right. Hope you're still tuned on in with us as we are currently getting set back up here at a turn 3, double filed up for the restart.
Yeah, and I noticed through all that, we got a new leader. Bob Hutchins is on point, so I'm interested to see how this restart's going to end up going.
I would say it's going to be an interesting selection on how it comes off the run, but I'll say one thing though, Jeffrey Oaks still has yet to exit out of pit road. Not sure what's going wrong down there. Warren Young has left as well, so we got pretty much only down to 8 drivers at this point, and some of them already been a lap down or they're out of control to get themselves back in it. So here we go on the restart here. The green flag flies back on out. We'll see who is able to survive and last and maintain this one, but out of the gate, it's a different story because Matthew Hofford is not the leader, and Sidney DeCoulter-Taylor is looking to try to take on Bob Hutchins now.
Yeah, it looks like on that restart, looks like there is just no grip on that outside at all. Hofford's now trying to make a move on Cindy, but he's going to have to stay behind because there's just no grip to go.
Whoa! A little bit of a love tap there, and Chad Lancaster gets the blunt of that one. You got a good camera angle of that as they were coming off that turn 4 exit. Managing to stay nice and clear there. Right goes back into the grassy plains. I know it's been COVID season for quite a while, but come on, man, you can't just keep opening up your own lawn care service in the middle of a race.
Wow, that was some tense moments there for a minute. Glad everybody was able to keep it together as well. Again, yeah, we did have the lawn care service out there. Got some grass out on the track. Hopefully that won't cause any problems.
For sure there, Bob Hutchins right now with the race lead. He has a Super Late Model win to his name. So this is really just icing on the cake. Cindy DeCoulter-Taylor, I mean, what else can you say about this woman right now? She has just all of a sudden changed her game plan, changed her strategy up, and she has just been an absolute beast when it comes to running with any league or any series. She just seems like she's in a whole new light, a whole new world as they come down that back straightaway. Matthew Hofford finally intervenes again.
Oh, no!
Unfortunately, takes a ride and a half there. Cindy DeCoulter-Taylor goes spinning out, and caution comes out, unfortunately. And I do apologize for anybody that had headphones on. Old Sparky got a little too excited on the booth here.
Yeah, I did. That was I just saw the car go sideways, and it just went all crazy.
let's just go to the PTM Instant Replay and find out what happened. All right, so coming out of turn 3, Hofford just drove in a little too deep. He had to make a move down there. There's not a lot of chances to do it. Him and Cindy, unfortunately, just kind of getting tagged in and one another, and that brought out that old disgusting PTM Instant Replay. Brought to you by our good friends over, pretty much by anybody we just mentioned earlier on, McConaughey Setup Shop, Met Mills Racing, Bob's Custom Trophies and Gifts, SimRacingMerch.com, Gridfinder.com, Buttkicker, FEGPC.net, Brandon Minnick Sim Racing, and Piles Wraps and Green Tech Energy. As the caution lights flicker around here on the show right now, currently, Bob goes into pit road, and I think that's probably mainly just due to his fuel run strategy here. It's going to be interesting to see what he's got in mind and what he's got planned, but that was definitely a little bit crazy to say at least with 23 laps to go there, Sparky.
Yeah, it was, and what I'm really amazed about is Cindy was the only one that really got any damage from that, it looked like to me, because it looked like everybody else made it through there. I'm surprised more cars didn't get involved in that, but wow, yeah. It looked like just based what you saw there was Matthew Hofford just got in there a little too deep there, just clipped her on the corner a little bit and got her turned around, but get them all fixed up and we'll get them stacked back up again here.
In our chat right now, Lee Puttister Pottle going on, come on in. They are saying yes, Chantel is one cool driver, and well, we haven't really mentioned too much about the throttle tonight, but yeah, she's been, for the most part, she's been hanging her own, but this is definitely not the performance she had last week at Oxford. She did tell us that Texas is a little bit tricky for her liking, but she also said she does not like these super late minutes to begin with, but it is what it is. And I'll be honest with you, though, Sparky, I gotta believe these guys and gals are probably gonna want to switch series up next season, and to be honest, I wouldn't blame them if they did.
I probably wouldn't blame them either on that point, definitely, because it just seems like some places it seems like these cars handle really well at, and then other ones it's just like about ready to pull your hair out at.
Well, I mean, to be honest, if those brakes on those original late models did not absolutely be horrendous, I would love to have those things back on the short track series, because I know those things can be an absolute blast from the past in a hard racing situation. And we knew when we got into those things for the first time, I actually kind of was a little jealous to not run them. I wanted to kind of run them a little bit, but, you know, being in the broadcast booth, I can't really do nothing about that, so I have to kind of do my own thing here. But, yeah, I will say, though, whatever they go to next, honestly, to be honest with you, I kind of think they're going to possibly go over to the NASCAR Heat style. They're going to possibly move just from trucks and maybe move into Xfinity.
Well, if they do that Xfinity series, that'll be definitely one watch for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, what else can we get into though that really hasn't been tested or really hasn't been proven? I mean, you could think about it. There are ways to have like different cars in different series, but obviously Pushing Limits kind of did that. And I think they kind of trademarked that already, so I wouldn't be bothering with them. But I don't know. Maybe if you had to choose a series though, Sparky, what would it be? Because if it was me, I would do the trucks. And then I probably would bring those late models back. I know the brakes are horrible there, but I mean those things were fun to watch, and they put up some good fights.
Well, yeah, those are that would definitely be some good picks there. I was thinking a little bit more crazy and a little bit more outside the box. But what if we had the William modified cars in here?
You know, that's been something I've kind of thought about myself, but I don't know. I've always been a big fan of fenders and that kind of racing because you can bump and bang with those things. But, you know, Wheel and Modified, there's one thing Iowa showed us with those things is they put up a fight and they are interesting to watch. So, I mean, maybe at the end of the day, maybe Wheel and Modified might be the next one to go to. I mean, there's a lot of series they can do. But, you know, if you look back at the past, what these drivers have dealt with, Season 1, it was Street Stocks and Legends because that was the free stuff. That was really what what everyone could afford because they were brand new to iRacing. Then you go into a Season 2 where it was almost like a completely switch of the times and everything. You had, what all did we have there? Wasn't it you had the ARCA series and then you had the light models.
Yep.
And ARCA, well, no offense to them, but they're actually worse than the super late models if I'm going to be dead honest for you a minute. No offense to anybody who likes ARCA, it's just I never understood how the heck you can even control those things, much less even get a run off them. But then you had that, then you had the late models, obviously. And then you go into Season 3, which this is the season we're in right now. Now all of a sudden it's literally you went from the original super late models, which you had to revamp into these, and you had the Gandor Outdoor Truck Series, which, in my opinion, Gandor has pretty much put on a great show and put on some pretty classic racing. The only thing really missing that I haven't tried yet really is either Wheel and Modified or those asphalt sprint cars. I think that's really, or besides the Dolores maybe, you could probably get them in a Dallara or whatever, but I mean, would they want to as the green flag flies on back out? We're back underway.
Yes, we are. We are going to be flying back underway here. And there for a moment, Chad Lancaster had a sniff of the lead, but it looks like Bob Hutchins got somewhere to go. He put it in a different gear and drove right around him on the outside on the restart, and Hutchins back in the lead.
Chantel, the throttle bottle, going to go at it here with Cindy the Closer Terror down that back straightaway. Here the number 7 versus the 5 machine. As that Green Tech Energy VA machine goes against the Rusty's Renegade Bumper. And number 8 of Key Checkmate Taylor, but there's problems there out of turn 4 once again. Big wreck there out of pursuit. And caution comes back out. More troubles for the throttle. And Todd Tufts, Jason Reif kind of caught up in that one. And I'm probably going to get the old broadcaster curse commentary for that one.
Yeah, and probably now I've cursed this because I said earlier about this thing going green, and now we're getting some cautions now.
Okay, so we're both at fault here, but let's find out what happened here. Looks like Chantel just kind of came out of turn 4 there. It looks like she was just already tight as it was, and she came off it very loose. We'll take another look at it from the blimp cam here. We're going to watch as she comes into turn 3 and 4. See if maybe she just overdrove that turn to begin with, because once you overdrive turn 3, pretty much it messes up turn 4's exit completely, and there's no saving. See, yeah, she's already way up there, Sparky, and contact maybe with Key Checkmate Taylor. I can't tell from that angle. I don't think there was contact made, and even then, I don't think it really was anything. I think it was just coming off that exit. I think she just got too loose, and the rear end just completely spun out on her.
Yeah, it looked like she was. Yeah, it was coming mid corner. It looks like that rear end started to come around on her already, and it was coming on around. And if it was, it looked like no contact. It looked like no contact with Taylor at all. And then poor Todd Tubbs and Chaser Wright both get slammed into the fence up there, and boy, just a mess.
Those two just can't catch a break to save their life in this track, man. I honestly can't blame them, but good Lord Almighty, man, this track is just tearing drivers apart, and it's eating folks away day in and day out, time and time again. But I mean, the beauty of it is they're all still hanging in there and still driving their tail ends off, just trying to get a run or two. But you know, eventually, sooner or later, they just gotta start realizing, like, when is the right time to just say flat out, okay, enough's enough. We need to actually try to get some more long runs in here, because that first half, they had it dialed in, I thought. Now they're coming into the second half, and keep in mind, they're on an hour and 15 time limit, folks. So we're already, from our stream wise, they've already got about 50 minutes plus in. So if they don't find a way to get these laps in, if they have like one or two more cautions, to be honest with you, this could turn into what I like to call a Sparky situation, where it's basically watch the time and watch the situation and see when's the right time to go into pit road and when's the right time to just get back out there and just take the win from them when they least expect it.
Sparky situation. Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah, that's the way to go with. Because yeah, you get to that point. You do definitely get to that point where, you know, you have to pay attention to that. If you get enough cautions out there, you got to look up at that clock, because these races are timed, and they are within a time limit. So if you don't fill in the laps, you got to watch that clock. And when do you make that, you know, strategy move? And another thing too is they also have the fast repairs as well. And a couple of these guys, I've bet amount of money has used up quite a couple of them already. So got to be careful with that as well.
Chad Lancaster, Todd Tubbs, probably one of the bigger favorites on that end that have used up at least two, if not maybe that third one by now. Obviously, Matthew Hofford had to use one up earlier from that little spin he had, little wreck involving him and Cindy the Closer Taylor. Cindy managing to come really unscathed, but she did wreck pretty hard, so they had to call a caution on that. But I mean, yeah, like you said there, Sparky, it's gonna play down to who can survive and who can last. And you know, another big thing is I hate saying this, but with only about 20 minutes left on the clock now, when really is the time to actually go into pit road and actually use a smart strategy versus just literally saying to hell with it, let's just gun for it?
I guess it more or less is, it's basically all who's paying attention. When I did it in that race, nobody was really paying attention to the clock, and everybody went down pit road with just a couple minutes left, not really, you know, having any idea that the clock was there. I intended to stay out anyway. If the leader pit, I was going to stay out. I was going to do the opposite of what the leader did and try to get the best position I could, because I was all the way in the back anyway. So I was just trying to get track position. It was basically what I was doing. And lo and behold, it just happened that way, that the clock was there, and they weren't going to get enough laps to get back in because the clock was going to run out, and it just happened that way. So it's a psychological thing at that point. You just got to be aware of what's going on, what your surroundings are, and keep an eye on that clock. And then, you know, if some other folks are like, oh, I got pit, I got damage, or I got to get tires, or I got to get fuel, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, you know what, this thing may not get restarted. I might just stay out here. So it's kind of be like it's got to be kind of in the moment type of thing when you do that.
Definitely there. And one thing I've actually started kind of figuring out too is with these timed races is that whenever I'm involved in them or I have to do them, because there are a few I've actually been a part of and I've raced with, I've actually like got this little like it's just a kitchen clock timer. What I'll do is I set the clock on it, and as soon as we're about ready to go, as soon as we grid, I click the start button and I watch that as we get later in the race. If cautions start to come into big time, I actually pull the clock. I actually have the clock in a nice area where I can look at it, and just to see like what's going on and how far we are from one another. And it works out quite well, and I'm surprised a lot of other folks haven't done it before, but nevertheless, the green flag flies back on out. They have 15 laps to go, and really only 20 minutes left they can have to do this. So about time, they need to start getting things figured in quickly, because one more caution that could spell the Sparky situation. And off that run, Matthew Hoffer goes right into the back stretch wall. A little bit of trouble there for him as Jeffrey Todd moves to the inside looking for a run on him.
Yeah, absolutely. It just caught the end of that back there when Hoffer got in the wall. And I tell you what, he's got to be very frustrated right because, he was dominating this race early. And he knows he's got a fast car. But now he's going to go all the way to the back, and he's got to be pounding that steering wheel a little bit. Still got time, but, it's almost getting to that point where it's almost go time.
He was about to say, I honestly would say if you expect the last 5 laps, I would say probably when he gets those 5 laps in, that's when you're going to start to see him try to push it even harder, as long as there's not a wreck that comes with it. But Cindy the Closer Taylor and Keith Checkmate Taylor, the Taylors are going to go back at it here once more. As Bob Hutchins currently has the race lead, but for how long here?
Like you were saying about Cindy Taylor earlier, kind of cliche to say, but I would say that girl is on fire because she has been on fire these last couple of weeks. And I tell you what, I wouldn't count her out by no means.
Definitely not. Right behind them both, though, Todd Tuff's having to do a little bit of a war here with Chantel Throttle Bottle. Despite the earlier problems there, it looks like maybe she might finally have dialed something in a little bit. And she definitely needs it. Season points are on the line, and points matter around here about as much as that cone lights matter here. 12 laps to go here as they come across here. Turn once again. Cindy the Closer Taylor and Keith Checkmate. Both even keel, both right on the run. Checkmate looking for a run around her sister and trying to get up there with Bob Hutchings. Bob trying to defend off 2 Taylors for 1 and trying to get himself into victory lane for the first time in this revamped season.
Yeah, it looks like these 3 cars right now pretty much gotten away from the rest of the field at this point, so they're kind of just sitting in line. But, either one of them Bob Hutchins just trying to hold on to the lead at this point. The other 2 just looking for a little slip up, a little mistake, something, to try to get a fender in somewhere.
The Cobra machine, number 7 of Cindy the Closer Taylor right now, trying to get that Ford Motorsports machine up to the front, trying to get around Bob. Bob just not giving her any inches or chances to make a move here, and she has to back. And even though it seems like she's getting a run on that backstretch there, Sparky, she's having to still corner off a little bit tighter than him.
Yeah, I thought there for a minute she got that run off that backstretch as Keith Taylor's going to go ahead and take the second away from her. Now, boy, she dropped back a little bit there. There for a minute, I thought she was going to get that backstretch run and get that run on him and see if they could go side by side in the turn 3, but it just didn't happen that way.
It didn't happen that way at all. As right now they come down that back straightaway now. Keith Checkmate Taylor eyes a spot of opportunity, and somehow, some way, I'm kind of surprised here. Chantel, all of a sudden, I don't know if she just woke up from her nap, but I know down in Canada where the Rock is, I know they're a little bit ahead of us, but good Lord, I don't know. Maybe they just finally let them get that thing dialed back in, but the 5 is all of a sudden charging quickly up to the front. She's kind of sleeping on us here tonight.
Yeah, as a former broadcaster would say, where did she come from?
That's where I usually do not say anything other than just there she is. And as I say that, well, this time she saved it, but she got on that apron once again, and that slows down her momentum completely. Sparky, this is why we should not be talking about drivers when they're doing good like that. It always screws them up, and I always get in trouble for it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah.
You always get in trouble for these things. Good Lord Almighty. Well, right down the back straightaway here. Cindy the Closer Taylor and Bob Hutchins both at each other's game right now. Bob trying to stay with it. Cindy looking for a maneuver, evasive action here. The laps are winding down, and we're coming to the end with only 7 to go.
Yes, sir. 7 to go as Mr. Hutchins comes across the line here. Taylor's reeled him back in here. So Cindy's not out of this just yet. Just had to regroup herself there for a minute as Keith now makes a position swap there for third as he gets by the throttle there.
I was just about to say, he's actually reeling it back in as well too here, starting to get a little bit of a charge on the last bit of this race. Looking for those big elusive points in the times they need. But Bob Hutchins, man, he has just been pretty much taking care of business ever since his wars there with Matthew Hofford earlier on. And it's definitely a telling of the tale here between these two as they come down once more. Cindy is just moving closer and closer around. Checkmate and Chantel, I don't know what the heck's going on with the throttle and the Checkmate, man, but those two are just absolutely trying to outwit and outdo each other. And from our blip cam, it legit looks like Keith has got so focused on his eyes from Lightning McQueen's paint scheme that it's actually coming right at her.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, they definitely have made the closing moments of this race very, very exciting, very interesting back there with all this position swapping around here.
Not more interesting than most of the NASCAR Cup races can pull off here anymore, but nevertheless, as they come out of turn 2, Cindy the Closer Taylor trying to pull back a little bit and really charge back once more around. Let's go and look at the lap times real quick as they come back in position. You can see she was saving those tires up and living up to her nickname, the Closer, because Bob is starting to fade slightly here with only 4 to go. But she needs a big run off an outside or an exit really well here, man.
Yeah, and don't look behind you. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I thought she was going to make a pass there for a minute, but nope, she'll get back in line. But while that's going on, the other two behind her, the Throttle Pottle and Keith Checkmate Taylor, have caught back up to them. We got a 4-car race.
We have a 4-car race coming down the line. Lines are starting to be made, and drafts are going to be big played into factor. This could be a strong, crazy finish to say the least. There's a little bobble there back on the apron, but it seems as though they finally got those tires worn in enough to not have to worry about it so much as they are closing laps in. Jason Wright completely off the track. Once again, problems there for the 54. And he just can't see the catch and break here. Hopefully he can see him a little bit better. Back at Thompson.
Oh, no!
And Keith Checkmate gets 2 of them for the price of 1 out of turn 2. Caution comes down and Hoffer gets a tag. Are you kidding me?
Oh, wow. Oh, boy.
Well, that is going to spell a PCM instant replay, and I'm just going to say this right now. We're going to the onboard with Checkmate. I think we need to look very carefully at that one. I don't know if maybe he was trying to get a run on that one or where everything went wrong, but that right there, my friends, was a big mistake when it came to making that pass. But again, that's just kind of the ordeal of racing, is you have to try to make that move. He didn't have much room down there. I'm not sure why he tried to corner in so quick, but ends up tagging both his sister and Chantel for that. I mean, again, was it possibly because of just the way that they were coming off that on that entry? Maybe he was just trying to think he had some room there?
Maybe, or maybe the fact that maybe he didn't realize how close he was to Chantel going into that corner, because it was just very, very light contact there, and it just sent kind of did the old synchronized spinning there in that corner, because it got Cindy too. But that was, I don't know, it didn't look like he wasn't, it was very, very slight contact at all, if any, there on that right quarter panel. That was just really close racing. I don't know. I mean, it's getting close toward the end of the race, so you kind of need to make a move when you can, but, you know, pretty wild there.
Yeah, it was wild indeed as we return back from the instant replay back to our live feed right now, and it's going to be a green-white checkered here on the show. 5th caution of the night, and I'll be honest, I was not expecting to have this many cautions in the late part of this race. I thought at first that we were going to have a pretty good race to start. Although when I did talk with you earlier, Sparky, I did say flat out, point blank, I was a little worried that these drivers are not going to be able to handle this track as well as they'd like to.
Yeah, and to that point, like that's why I was so amazed at the first part of the race. You know, it was so calm and everybody was, you know, minding their P's and Q's, and we had a pretty good race going on. Not saying that this isn't a pretty good race so far, because there was some good hard racing there those last couple laps. But now we got this green-white checkered situation. We still got some time on the clock, so that's not going to be an issue at this point. But now here comes the strategy thing, is because it's like Keith Taylor's going to stay out while everybody else seemed like they are going to pit. Well, it looks like we got a couple guys that didn't pit. It looks like the 54 and the 72 didn't pit as well.
So if everyone at home is wondering why on earth they did not go into pit road or do anything like that, well, I'll tell you this right now. With the way these tires are set and the way they are very, very difficult to master when it comes to being on cold tires. You have to be very gentle as you come off those exits, very smart off that. It's almost like an asphalt sprint car the way I can present it, because with those things, when you're running them for the first time, you cannot full throttle them off until those tires are worn in a little bit, and the same can be said about these cars. And that's really, I think, what's going to make this final part of this race very interesting when it comes to how well they'll be able to handle this coming to the end. But nevertheless, Keith Checkmate Taylor will have possibly the chance of his life to win this one. Oh, or is he? Looks like he's going to the outhouse. He's going to the back here, Sparky.
Yep, it looks like he's getting the dreaded end-of-line penalty. It looks like because of the accident that happened there, he's getting black flagged and sent to the back of the field.
So that will send him all the way to the back here. May not, you know, we can say what you want. I don't know how I would feel about it. I mean, as a driver, I would hate it. But at the same time, I'm looking back at it later. I'd be, well, I did end up doing what I did there. So if I'm going to win the race, I'm going to just work my way to the front. This, honestly, though, this gives a huge opening to possibly chance of a new winner here with only 2 to go. Chad Lancaster, Todd Tufts, and Jason Rife have never won here. But the problem is they got Bob Hutchins kind of eyeing them as well. So this, I'm going to be honest with you, Sparky, this could be an interesting restart. We'll see how it plays out as they come around turn 4. There could be a new winner, but there could also be a little bit of mayhem in between. But I guarantee if they mess this up, they've only got one more chance and that's game over because they will not have enough time to do it if they have enough time to even do this.
Whoa.
Not really sure where that restart went or what happened there, but they're going on the green flag now. They're off the restart, and it's a mess. It's a cluttered mess off the start. Did Todd Tufts just go when he's not supposed to?
Yeah, he went down where no man went before and basically blocked Bob Hutchins to make sure he didn't get a run on him. And that's really going to stack the field up here as we're going to come down to 1 to go here.
Jason Rife is on the attack, on the shot right now. He's got the race lead, but by how much here? Chantel's got a run there on Todd Tufts to make it back in. Chad Lancaster and Rife going to fight it out to the end. We're coming to the white flag now as the green changes to white. No more cautions on this one anywhere. It's a Sunday. Who's going to win it on? Who's taking this one home? They're coming out of turn 2 now. Lancaster is trying to keep Bob away from making any big crazy moves. Rice right there with him trying to defend him like you're at Daytona. They're coming to the turn 3 situation. Rice doesn't quite get the bumper from Lancaster. Hutchings stays in into the throttle, but out of turn 4, it's going to be a drag race to the end. Coming to the finish. And Jason Rife is finally going to do it. He takes it to victory lane for the first time in his career.
Wow.
Well, that was a sequence of events, I guess.
Wow. I'm just speechless, man. Wow, what a finish. What a finish.
I mean, we've talked about crazy moments before. We've talked about the insane runs that come in this racing series. But I don't think anybody would have expected or intended after every time Rife bit into the grassy plains, having troubles with the turns and all that, he would catch a break when he did, and I think, honestly, he pulled a Sparky situation and figured out the timing, and he also figured out where laps he was at. And you know what? You can say what you want, but if you're smart enough and you know how to play strategy, sometimes it just works for you. Jason Rife is the champion here tonight for the very first time in his career.
Wow, man, what a feel-good story for him. That's just great. Get your first win here, and that's amazing. Just the way he set that up. That was a great strategy call on his part. Chad Lancaster too, in the 22. Great run for him. Wow, I'm thrilled for him. That's amazing. Just awesome run, awesome finish.
For sure there. I mean, a lot of folks always talk about what's going on in NASCAR right now with, pretty much every race being a new winner in the series. Well, so far with Pedal the Metal Super Late Miles, it's been pretty much a new winner as you go along with the Revamped stuff as we take it down to the final results here on the show. Yeah, he did it. It's official. Jason Rife, for the first time in his career, is going to take home victory lane as I completely lost my voice. And honestly, my voice has not been broadcasting voice play as of late, so I apologize for that very crummy sound. Sorry about that, folks. Second place going to Bob Hutchings there. Third goes to Chad Lancaster. Fourth to Chantel Throttle Pottle. Fifth goes to Cindy the Closer Taylor. Sixth to Matthew Huffer. Gotta be the upset of the night in my opinion. That's hard to believe. Jeffrey Todd Tufts fell back in position. Not sure what happened on that restart, but I think the race officials will definitely probably have a look at that one. Key Checkmate Taylor gets out of after the situation he had earlier. Ninth goes to Jeffrey Oaks, falling back way behind, below the motor. Warren Young blew a motor, and Joe Nuttleman, unfortunately, had to relinquish the race here tonight due to issues going on with the family members, I believe. So a tough break there for him. Hopefully everything is okay as we're getting ready to talk with our top 3 now here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, he is your third place finisher here tonight. putting up a fight to the end, coming very close to second, but nevertheless, a strong showing for Mr. Chad Lancaster. And Chad, I mean, you had a lot of work to do to really hang in with these guys and stay with it. What was going through your mind on that final restart when you were getting to the end?
I knew I had a good car on 2 laps, but when it got later on, I just ran off and left.
It seemed like it there.
So I thought I had a good chance, but I don't know, another lap maybe would have had second, but I'm good with third.
For sure there. Nevertheless, Chad, I mean, still looking for the first win, but I mean, you're getting pretty close every time out, and it seems like things are starting to dial back in. I got to ask you, man, is there anybody out there you want to thank for this one, or anything you got really to say here from tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank my wife. She does all my artwork on my paint schemes. It's Landon C Studio on Instagram. You could take a look at it there. I'm sure everybody gets to see the exciting paint jobs every week to week.
For sure there, man. Some awesome looking designs. As always, some great stuff to see. Chad, nevertheless, congratulations on a third place finish. Well deserved, bud, and hopefully we'll see you in victory lane real soon.
All right, thanks.
Chad Lancaster there getting a third place finish here tonight. As looks like Jason Reif has now joined us in for the top spot. I don't think we're going to have Bob on the show at the moment. I think he's a little bit busy down there trying to get settled out of the car, but let's go ahead and bring him in there, old Sparky. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, your race winner here tonight. Finally ending a long running curse and finally getting himself a victory lane, Jason Reif. Reif, man, you were fighting throughout the season last season. You came into this season and you were starting to really hammer it down, get things dialed in more. What on earth did you do on that restart to hold off those two cats? Looks like we lost him here, there, Sparky. Reif, you got a copy? Oops. Sparky, you keep throwing him down there.
No, not me.
Okay, try that again here. Reif, you got a copy, buddy?
I do.
All right, there you go, man. Yeah, did you catch anything we said there a minute ago, man?
You still there?
Yeah, we still got you.
Alrighty.
Did you catch anything we had said a minute ago?
No, I did not.
All right, so you're coming away with a victory here tonight. First one finally out of season 3 and a career, I believe. And finally, you had a long, hard road to get through it. I mean, last season you came in fresh out, hot out of the gate, and you're really definitely showing up quite a bit and pulling off the stops. But here tonight, finally ending the curse and getting it into victory lane. What on earth did you have to do to hold off those two drivers there at the end?
I was just praying my tires were going to hold on. Right before that caution came out, I started getting really loose, so I was actually really worried about starting on the pole right there on that restart. But coming back 3 laps down, that was a great finish.
It definitely was indeed, and it managed to pull through and hang tight to the end. And I mean, you are walking away with the W and hanging in there and hanging it with. So I'm gonna ask you, man, who do you want to thank you for this one, and who got you to victory lane tonight?
Definitely PTM. Thanks for doing the league. Of course, you, Chris, you do an awesome job. Wolfpack Racing, we got her done tonight.
For sure there, and I honestly, even though seems like I'm always the one doing the work, actually, I got Sparky, Dustin Sonaker helping us out tonight as well, so he deserves about as much credit as anything to keep this one interesting tonight. So, nevertheless, though, congratulations, Reif. Long overdue, bud. Well deserved and a good win for you.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Reif, your race winner here tonight to wrap out the night. And Sparky, final thoughts before we get the heck out of here?
That was very unexpected how that race went, but I tell you what, that was a heck of a finish. I'm still in shock over that one. Good job by Jason Reif. Good job on the win for him tonight, and just wow, I'm just speechless.
I'm about to say, I mean, you can't really get any more speechless than that. So, but nevertheless, we are having to call it a night here for this race anyway. We have one more to go, and then I'm gonna head off to the shadow round where I can take a little slumber, sleep away, if you will, to get ready for the race that is to come from work anyway. But there is one more race to go, Fairbury Speedway with those Mississippi dirt stocks. They're coming your way here in just a minute. But from all of us here at PTM Racing TV and all of us here I've been Christian, the Crusader Striver. This is my good friend Sparky Sparkalicious signing off for the night. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for everything. Be safe. God bless. Take care. We love you. See you next time when the green flag flies right here on PTM Racing TV.